my voice agent is currently sleeping right now. So I have a little voice agent right now. His name is Pebbles, and he's basically running GPT-2 real time. Hi, how are you doing, Pebbles? Are you there? Are you able to answer me? You can see these little eyes blinking. And so right now he's basically having a little bit of time because I actually have him as a little character, and he's basically roaming around on my phone right now as like a little iOS agent. And so for those who don't know, I'm actually going to be playing around with the GPT-2 real-time voice thing. And I'm going to be building this inside of Xcode. So this is all basically written in Swift. And so we're going to be writing in Swift, also writing in UIKit as well, and just going to show you how to do this. It's not as hard as I thought it was going to be, and it's actually a lot easier, especially with this new agentic coding platforms. And so one of the first things I really wanted to show you right here is this thing called AIProxy. So if you're wondering how can you ship an app to the App Store without shipping your actual key onto the device, this is probably the best way to do it. I was told about this from my friend Ronald Manick, and in my first YouTube video where I interviewed him, his key got stolen, and so what ended up happening is that they ran up his bill. And what you have to do is you have to kind of set up a server in the middle, which is called a proxy server, so that way your phone can send those types of things up, or somebody can't steal your requests and replay them over again. So this is kind of part of that whole story, which I think is really, really cool. Very reasonable free rates to use as well to just kind of get started and start prototyping. And this is kind of what I've been doing. It's super fast, and they actually have some example repos. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this here. So integrate your Swift clients in minutes. Let me go ahead and put this into the actual stream stuff here. So I'll link this down below there. That way you can take a look and see what you need to do. And so this GPT Realtime 2, it is really, really fast. This thing is still... Hi, I'm basically, hi, how are you doing? And so it's currently running right now. It's actually listening to me. So I'm going to just kind of turn it off and make it go to sleep. And so the price for input's $4 and $24 for the output. And I've been doing quite a bit of requests, and I probably spent $1.87. And I think over the last like 7 days, I've probably spent almost 1 million tokens. So not that bad. I mean, I got quite a bit of a balance, but the reason why I'm using the GPT-2 real-time is that it's extremely fast. So this is probably one of the fastest real-time transcribers. Also, at the same time, it is really good at function calling and really good at like getting everything you need to know. So as a bonus feature, I've also hooked it up to Exa. And so this thing can do web searches for me. So this little agent can talk and do that. So I'll show you a little bit of that and how that goes as well. And so that's GPT-2 real-time. That's the platform. And so when you go to AIProxy, we're just going to go to this GitHub repo. There should be some examples in here. So there's like, if we go in here, this is going to be where AIProxy Swift. So in here, there should be, let's see, examples. So AIProxy, docs, resources, sample apps. So what you can do just to get started is download one of the sample apps. And so what's nice about this is that they're ready to go. And this was done several years ago, and most of the APIs and stuff still work. But what's crazy about it is that right out of the box, you already have something that works, and all you have to do is just put in your own key and everything. So that's kind of how this should work here as far as like, if you want to make something with replicate. So we can literally just replace this with GPT image, real-time image 2 or something, and it'll just be super fast now. It used to take a long time for it to generate, but it's really, really fun. There's also a film recommendation one. You literally just slide this little thing around. And then Todd Hamilton, which is the guy right here, he's the one that actually made these apps, and he's really, really good at doing this stuff. He even made a plant identifier with OpenAI. So like a lot of these endpoints are much more rich now, but the basics for the apps are actually here, and you can then take these and kind of start shipping them. You could even have like a voice recording meetings with Whisper as well. So this is pretty cool. So the one that I used was, let's see, voice. Where is the voice one? Real time. I think there is a real-time one. Let me go ahead and see if I can just grab one here. Okay, so there's AIProxy Bootstrap demos. Demos? Yeah, here's the demos. So if this is the Bootstrap thing here, yeah, cool. So this is actually in Todd Hamilton's repo there. And so if you grab this one, in here, you'll see a thing called demos. And then within demos, you can, I think there's one for voice. I don't know where I got one for the AI, the streaming one. Let's see. Maybe it's in the, I don't remember. boy, where did I get my voice one? Transcription? Okay. So real time. Okay, here we go. There's an OpenAI. If you're building for iOS, the OpenAI real-time starter is right here for the jump off project. So let's go ahead and get that one. So Lou Zell made this one called the OpenAI real-time sample. Let me go ahead and put this here as well so you can get this. So, yo, tech friend, what's going on, man? Welcome to the stream. I appreciate you showing up here. So if you grab that repo that I just linked right here from the OpenAI real-time sample, then that's what you can use to start linking stuff up. If you don't have 20 AI voice repos, you're not going to make it. Yeah. Good to have you back. Yeah, man. I've just been chilling in Hawaii right now. If y'all have been chilling right now, you can kind of see like the background. It's been so nice. So nice. But I do miss streaming. So yeah, just to kind of catch you guys up a little bit is that I'll be kind of doing these streams more often. I'm aiming for Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I'm trying to do them more often. But I'm also going to be making some more like smaller snippets. So the stream is just going to be for us to kind of hang out and just live vibe. And I just want to discover and play live. And then if there's anything that's really useful, just drop a comment and you're like, hey, that was really useful. What I can do is I could take that snippet and then just make it into like an official video. That way other people can benefit from it. Because I know not a lot of people have like a couple of hours to watch a whole live stream. And people have heard that, I've heard a lot of people say that they just benefit watching me just vibe. So I think the whole purpose for me is just to kind of vibe out. Also, I have a free community that I've currently started called Start My AI. And so if you want to check that out, definitely get into it right now while it's free, because rfer.me/startmyai. So I started a school community. And the point of this was really just to kind of get people in here together and start to kind of vibe out. I feel like a lot of information is out there, is moving super fast. And so I'm trying to have a central place to kind of start like dumping everything in real time. And I just want to make this so valuable that it beats other people who are paying for communities in some ways. And then as far as like paid offerings, I don't know what that looks like yet. I'm more interested in kind of like getting everyone to build with each other. So big shout outs to Paul, who's been answering a lot of questions here in the community, as well as David and Augment. Is Augment? Augment? I don't know who that is. So yeah, feel free to hop in, start answering some questions, check in, show us like what you're working on, what kind of stuff you're doing. If for those who are wanting to get started, just using AI stuff, I have a like 3-day type of thing. So you can get started using Codex. Codex is amazing at like controlling the computer, and I'll show you how to do some of that stuff. But if you just start with day one, I basically just walk you through how to just use the chat, control your computer, and like set up an integration. Once you start doing this, you can start to have it like start to control parts of your life and automate things like your calendar prep, reply queues, bug reports, like anything that you wanted to do, you could just tell Codex. And then this is before you can actually control it on your phone now, which is amazing. So that's kind of that there as a side note. So yeah, background looks beautiful. Great to see you enjoy your life. I'm on 4 days on and 4 days off schedule right now. You know, it's been really important for me to disconnect and then get it more grounding as far as like what I want to do. And I realized that it's so tempting to get a lot of views and just focus on like the grind of doing YouTube for the sake of views and for the sake of, I don't know, that I feel like I'm losing a sense of myself and my reason for even wanting to be here. So like when I wake up into this body, I realize that like I have a creative gift, right? We have a creative gift to be here with each other. And I kind of feel like this is a great way to just explore in the age of AI, where we can just bring stuff to life. So that's kind of why I want to do these live streams, is that like the live streams we're just bringing stuff to life. So the concept for those who are just joining in right now, let me kind of catch you up real quick. So what I'm working with here is this thing called Pebbles. And so Pebbles is basically going to be my agent, or my little guy that's going to live on my phone. And it's going to basically behave like this. So I'll show you a little bit quick like this. So with this guy, he's going to have these different moods, and there's like 9 Pebbles that make up Pebbles himself. So Pebbles is this guy. So he'll have like this like pensive mood, thinking or whatever like this. And then if he's really curious, he's going to look around the screen and interact with you. And then whenever he's like really happy, he'll kind of do this little dance type of thing. So this is kind of the way that he's composed. If he's thinking, he's going to be moving around. And so I want to make this inside of an iOS app. and then eventually it'll be on your Mac. It'll kind of live all over the place. And what I'll also be using is SpriteKit, so that way I'll get some of the physics involved. So I'll try to make some of these characters here. And then I want to make it using UIKit as well. So UIKit will allow me to do more gesture control, so that way we can flick this guy around and do really fun stuff with it, but then also kind of interact and hang out on the screen and do some cool notifications and stuff. So this is the concept that I've come up with, and I felt like this is really, really cool. I also kind of heard this word on, I think it was like on TikTok or something. Somebody mentioned that like, it'd be kind of funny if like somebody got the term Pebbles and kind of start to trick the like middle school kids, saying like the high school kids are using this like new slang. So I thought it was a really cool word. And I thought Pebbles is really interesting because it kind of rolls off the way that you kind of think about things in life, is that like they can just change shape and they can kind of flow and fit into things. And that's just kind of what's cool. It's like depending on the environment and what's going on, they kind of change shape in what's going on. I feel like that's a really good basis for what I want to make for this app. And Pebbles can be my assistant that kind of takes me there. So as a base layer, this character is just going to be what it is right here. And this is going to be, something that we start off with. And then from there, I start talking over it via voice, and then it's going to connect to my brain. So right now I have an OpenClaw set up, and that's helping me with nutrition. So maybe you can talk to that and kind of relay that information. I also have some other ideas as well. But first, for the prototype, what I did is just in Cursor, I basically just went in and then just told it to make a quick prototype for me. And we did that. And let me see if I can kind of build the app here in the demo. I'm just going to try to run it. So the problem with Xcode in here is that sometimes it doesn't really respond too well. Hey, yo, what's good, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine. What first name do you want me to use?
My name is Fernando.
Okay, Ray. Nice and clear. Yeah, right? It's Pebbles. Easy.
Hey, can you give me some of the latest stuff that's happening today?
Hold on. I'll check what's happening and give you the short version. Heavy news today, Ray. Fighting and attacks in the Middle East and Ukraine are leading headlines, with talks still in the background. If you want, I can narrow it to one region or a specific topic.
Hey, can you also tell me what's going on like in Hawaii right now?
Hold on. I'll check Hawaii specifically. Hawaii's got a few things in motion. Start of hurricane season with trade wind showers, officials assessing earlier earthquake damage on Hawaii Island, and volcano activity making news. You're good. It's Pebbles.
That's cool. What can you do for me?
I can look things up, keep simple notes, help you plan next steps, and talk things through so it feels handled.
¿Y también hablas español?
Sí, hablo español también. Easy.
Ay, muy bien. ¿Y también hablas en italiano?
Sí, también hablo italiano. Todo tranquilo.
¿Puedes hablar en italiano, por favor?
Certo. Parlo in italiano senza problemi.
Yo, this is crazy. Hello? Can you hear me? Did you hear what I said? Boy! This is fun. This is really, really fun.
Yeah, it can stay fun and steady.
It's not going to put him to sleep. So yeah, it's really funny because I've been trying to do this little demo before the stream and it wasn't really working. So I didn't really know what to expect from this demo, and it actually worked. So yeah, that's Pebbles. As you can see, this is my prototype. I've just been working with this like the last couple of days. It's been really fun to kind of play around with this thing, but I have like a little map here, and I have this type of thing, and we can have a conversation of kind of what we have going on. And so I'm planning to, as a first step, just try to get the voice agent to work. And as you can see with GPT Realtime, it's pretty damn fast. And what it's doing is also using Exa to go to the internet. And I'm using the Exa fast thing. So Exa returns that request pretty damn near immediately, which is super impressive. And like this thing just doesn't feel like it's skipping a beat. I've tried a lot of other voice agents and I've tried to do those. Sometimes they're like, hi, yes, let me repeat back what you're saying. It's like, oh, it's so annoying. It's like, okay, cool, boom. And it kind of knows what to say right away. And so I built these little cards as well that kind of sit up here. And so these cards are kind of what I was thinking about for some of the interactive design, but this is just the first prototype and I got to make it a little bit better. Oh, this actually works now. Okay, let's go. Yo, okay. That's a feature that I was kind of working. That's awesome. I forgot that this works now. Oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's Pebbles.
This is so crazy. Wow. Okay, I'm just gonna be flicking these rocks all the way. Oh my god. Okay, this is really, really fun. I'm still prototyping this, which is really crazy if you could think about it. So I'm gonna put it back to sleep. Yeah, so that way he turns off. So a lot of people, like when you make voice agents, like the thing that really annoyed me is a lot of people right now for their design, they're using the HAL 9000 theme. So when I say HAL 9000, you have a blank screen and you have a little orb in the middle that's going like this. I can't tell you how much I hate seeing that. And I'm trying to change this whole dynamic. And this is only my first shot. And I have a lot of iterations to go because I have a lot more ideas. So this is Pebbles. And I'm going to try to get this thing going right now. Just kind of I literally just bootstrapped this. And for those who are wondering, like, what did I use to make this? Basically, what I used was Cursor. And all I used was the Opus 4.8 1 million model max. So if you're wondering, there will be signs when I'm rich or something. I'm using the fast model right now, but that's a huge shout out to the Cursor team for like letting me just kind of try this thing out for a second. So that's what's up. But yeah, I think this is kind of really what's up right here. Legend. I had no idea why it's so much faster than what the dude. Yeah. So Max, I think partial is the, if you use AIProxy, Luzel is a long-term, like super senior engineer. And he combined with his business partner, they're co-founders at AIProxy. So his co-founder is Todd Hamilton, and he's the one who's like designer. He used to work at Meta, and so he did a lot of the cool design stuff. So he's made some really cool stuff in Metal, and then Lou's worked a lot on like the back end parts and kind of trying to tie everything together. And so he sat down and figured out the real-time stuff when I asked him a while back. And so I was like, man, this is so fire. So yeah, AIProxy, you can get started. I think the pricing is free to get started. Or they used to have a free plan. Yeah, you get 1,000 requests per month. I haven't even used 1,000. I'll probably use like 28 requests or something. Let's see, if I go home, I've only used 30 requests. I still have like a whole bunch more. Obviously, when you deploy an app to the App Store, you're going to go pretty fast once people start adopting it. But you're going to want to charge something, right? So there's like a debugging console if you want to debug live. Also, there's like, you can check out your requests and see what's going on and like see the request history. So if you want to break down what endpoints people are hitting. So I hit the search endpoint. So my search endpoint right now is using Exa. And so Exa is super fast. And that's what's crazy. Cause like, let's see, Exa search fast or something. World's fastest search. So they have a like 423. There's an even faster, Exa fast. So yeah, 423 milliseconds. This is what I'm using for all my searches. And so when it's using real time, it feels like it's real time. Like in no time, it comes back with grounded web results. And GPT, because GPT real time is already really fast, you combine the two and you're pretty much flowing. I find it a lot faster and more accurate than their own built-in web stuff, but you could do whatever you want to do. So that's what's up. I love it. When can we get a little more? Yeah. Yes. It's so awesome, man. Let's see. Why don't we have better real-time iPhone translate? It seems to work super wet. Yeah, so real-time translate, I've submitted a PR for Lou or someone to architect this. I mean, I could probably do it in a couple prompts. I might even have to because I want to do translate in the future. But basically, I submitted a pull request to these folks here for real-time too. So this is kind of, I think he took my issue and this guy's actually going to do it for me. But this is my feature request to them. Basically, I wrote like a really detailed spec here for them to basically take it and implement it. And right now it supports GPT Realtime too, but then I don't get the reasoning effort knob. So I can tune my reasoning effort up and down depending on the task and what is being asked. And then there's real-time whisper and also real-time translate. There's two different things that are kind of going on there. So I've kind of laid that out for them to implement in this. So as of now, I think Richard is actually going to implement this right now, like 3 hours ago. Let's go. Oh my God. Let's see. I'm just going to take a look at his pull requests. I think this looks good. I mean, it's not really that, there's a lot of moving pieces, real-time metric configuration. Okay, this is exactly what I was asking for. Perfect. Wow. This thing will be ready to go in no time. Amazing. Cool. You're saying why though? I don't see why not. I guess I'm really confused on why you're asking why. Yeah. Okay, that's what's up. Let's see what's going on. DJ Pebbles. Yeah. I think what's cool is how it can actually speak to you in whatever voice you want to speak to. So that's really cool. So yeah, AIProxy. So if you want to get started to just kick off your own real-time sample, I would say start here with this real-time sample app right here. So Max, if you're watching or anyone else who wants to get this started, check out the sample right here. And then to hook this up with their AIProxy, what's nice is they actually have good documentation. So if we go to docs right now, this is how you basically hook it up. There's actually an integration guide. And so in the integration guide, Todd actually walks through how you are supposed to do this with your Xcode, put in the thing into the Xcode settings on the Apple developer menu, also coming back into his thing in there. So you basically set up a device check. So the device check is basically going to make sure that only the devices that have vended your app are allowed to talk to your endpoint. So the problem is that sometimes people will find out what your endpoint is, like if you're hosting it on AWS or something, and they'll just keep spamming it and then just try to take it down. And that can run up your bill, number one. And number two is that you have a lot of problems. But if immediately you have something that you can check that is like an authentic Apple device running your specific app shipped from their app store, then you basically prevent a lot of that noise right out the gate. So that's super duper helpful. And so this actually walks you through how to set that up. And then the other part that's pretty important are the services. So these are the services that you would need from OpenAI, so like the endpoint. So the good thing is it's already pre-filled out. So you just hit OpenAI, add new service. And then from there, you just hit your API key. So you're going to be wondering, okay, are the folks at AIProxy going to store my key? And they thought about this and they're actually doing something a little bit more clever than this. So what they're doing is they're doing this thing called split key encryption. And just to kind of bring it down to a different level for y'all is the fact that they're only taking a part of your key and you're keeping the other part of the key. So whenever you hit their service, they're like, hey, we're going to stitch the key together and then send that over to OpenAI for you. And so they never get to store your full key and then you have a copy of your key. So if you lose it, then the request basically has to die and then you'll have to ship a new version of your app and create, put a new key in. So it's nice. It's a really cool way of doing this type of thing. And that way, whenever you ship your app, you can have the partial key on the app, put it in the app store. Even if somebody tries to replay it, there's nothing they can do with it because they have to go through all these different, hoops to basically say, it's you, it's coming from your device and so forth. And it's all signed correctly. So that's kind of the download there. Add AIProxy to your app. So this is kind of how you do it. So once you have that, to add it to your app, you just follow these instructions. So it says import the following code, and then configure it by basically, selecting your team. And then from you do the bundle identifier, you do that there. And then once you go to developer.apple.com/account, you just add that identifier, whatever the identifier is. So that's basically the reverse domain name of your app. So this is it. So you can call this whatever you want, Ray's fancy app or something. And then from there, you can just start to test the integration. That's how you get this. And so what's great about it is that in my case, Exa was not on there. So when I hit the new endpoint, I just hit add exa.ai, and then I just put in my API key, and then boom, all of a sudden I have an endpoint to Exa. And then you just tell the agent that, please start to, you're basically using these folks as a proxy server. So that way, that, all the requests are coming from your device and are doing that way. Obviously, this is for iOS only. And if you have a PC, I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. If you have a PC, it's a very different scheme to do that type of stuff. If you're doing an Android device as well, you have very different things. Mind you, you have to also keep, in fact, your own rate limits and other types of things that you should be aware of that you have to then account for. But this is probably the fastest way to get set up and then to get something in the App Store. Obviously, you don't want to ship this without people paying for your endpoint and people paying for access, because once you put this in the App Store and people download it, they'll start hitting your endpoint. And unless you're charging them or doing something to do that, or taking some money or something like that, then you're gonna go broke pretty fast. So just FYI, yeah. Yo, where you been, man? I've been having a nightmare with X Gemini Live. Dude, just use GPT Realtime. It's so fast. I'm always watching, Ray. I'm always watching. Yeah, man. Dude, you're so good. You're so good. Cool. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's the integration part, which is great. They also have how to integrate pretty much every single provider: OpenAI, Mistral, Grok, Open Router, Perplexity, Replicate. I mean, you can do a lot of cool stuff, right? So that's pretty cool. And you get 1,000 free requests a month. So that's just perfect. I mean, that's what I'm using right now for prototyping. When I get more requests, I'll just keep upping my limits. If you really wanted to, I mean, I don't know, like the fact that they do all the maintenance means that you don't have to vibe code and keep all that stuff up and running or worry about, a certificate or something you're missing. So yeah, that's what's up. So probably when Lou finds this commit, then we'll be able to get some more reasoning. I think he's just doing reasoning. He's going to probably make the translate one for something different. Okay, so then we'll get some more stuff later, which is really, really cool. So yeah, a lot of good repos in here for you to check out. I dropped a whole bunch of them. I'm probably going to make a post in the school community. So if you haven't had a chance, definitely go ahead and join there. I'm just going to say, let's see, real-time voice iOS resources. And then I'm going to drop some of these in here. So I'm going to go to the real-time proxy Swift, real-time sample. I'm going to drop that in here as well. And then I'm also going to drop the proxy Swift. Let's see, starter template, repo, and I guess you could say, yeah, proxy, AIProxy. AIProxy. Perfect. And then I'm going to drop this into updates probably. Yeah, updates. Why not? Okay. Post it. Okay, cool. So yeah, so if you go to the school community, you should be able to find these resources there. And that's probably already linked in my description. If not, then you might be able to find it there. That'd be cool. Okay, cool. So that's free. You can get that going. And then continue the discussion there. Let me know what you build because I'm really curious. So yeah, as of now, I have the voice. So now that you kind of know right now what we're building, we got the whole Pebbles thing. We got the little configurable. And let me just kind of catch you up on the next steps here that I want to keep going here. So what I'm doing right now is, let's see. So I did the original plan in Swift, and then I started to discover the limitations of Swift, especially with multi-gestures. And so I wanted to have the ability to basically toss rocks, toss my pebbles all over the place, like just to be able to do this. And not only do this, but also be able to have like multiple gestures and like a bunch of other stuff going on at the same time, flying into the screen, swiping, gesting, resizing, and doing a lot of cool stuff. And so I've realized that I probably will have such a hard time doing that in SwiftUI that it'll just be easier to do everything with UIKit and then figure out like a different pattern for doing this type of thing. So I had to do some research and basically make a whole refactoring plan. And yesterday I kicked this off. It says you are the orchestrator for Pebbles. And the way I did this is I think I did a lot of the research in one of the threads with Cursor. And I use this thing called multitask. So for those who aren't familiar, multitask will allow you to basically run multiple sessions at the same time. And so what's really powerful about this is that when you're having multiple like subtasks that are running, each sub agent gets their own million token context window. And within that million token context window, what ends up happening is that like it comes back very, very thorough results. And so a lot of people are saying, well, max thinking spends too much time thinking, and you are correct. But I find that if I don't have max thinking on and I'm working on these complicated refactors and stuff that involves chaining together lots of concepts, especially in Swift land, especially when you're figuring out like a view, a hierarchy of views, anything that depends on data that's changing, where a view lives and how data transform. There's a lot of things you keep in your head as a human. And unless you prompt the agent specifically on like this specific flow, or you actually know what's going on in the code, it becomes really hard to maintain. And so the easiest way is just to span out different agents and have them do the discovery for you. So the way that you can do this to be really proficient for using multiple or multitask or running multiple sub-agents is to say that, describe your task, describe what you're trying to do, describe your outcome, and then encourage it to use sub-agents so it can start to go dig through and find those pieces and do that stuff together. And so I find that if I use like an agent on lower thinking, it's not going to spend that time to look through and be really diligent about it. And that's where the additional thinking layer really kind of spends extra tokens to make sure it can find those things. And so what's great about that is that once it's done that, in between those steps, it tends to do like thinking tasks. And then it will develop its own to-do lists within the middle of thinking and then organize its thinking to continue to find other things that it needs to find to accomplish those tasks. So that's kind of what we got going on here in a like quick summary. And so that's the first part of the Refactor orchestration plan. And so I think, like the first part was kind of doing something like that. So what did I say here? So like this was the handoff. And then after the handoff worked, this is our design. So I think I explained the reason about why I'm going to UIKit. So let's go ahead and start working on some more stuff and then we can kind of come back to this right here. So the way that this is going to work here is next up P5. Okay, so I'm working in phases and I like to organize my plan in phases so that way I can continue doing the work that I need to do. So now I have real-time manager structure, create branch, complexity. Okay, so we completed all these. Component factory foundation is landed. The P4 worker reports the factory foundation response, create, perfect. Okay. So DoD green is independent rerun. Clean. P4 reviewer, milestone, Pizor, Agree on master, perfect. Okay, so drag. Okay, so now what we've landed are the device hooks, the UIKit stage view controller, the full screen view with SK view. Awesome. The drag pickup stack gestures, which is what we were doing there. And then the agent driven component factory. So, yo, Trendstar, what's going on? Yeah, man. Shoots, we are totally back right now. We are so back. Yeah, it feels really good. I love to live stream and I'm really glad I took a little bit of a break here to enjoy the scenery here in Hawaii, but also connect back with myself and kind of go back to the joy of just streaming and being around and hanging out. So the stuff is changing so fast and it's not the same when I'm coding by myself. You know what I mean? So I like to I'm going to try to do this as much as possible. So I got the studio set up. I have to tear it down every day, but then I'll be tearing it back up. But for the most part, I'm going Tuesdays and Thursdays for sure. While I'm here right around, noonish or something like Hawaii time between 10 and 12. And then maybe a little bit different. But if you want to stay up to date, I've just started this free school community for people to get in. And I think this is going to be just a good way for us to kind of hang out. And I'm putting some of the resources. And so that way you can kind of check them out for the stream and see kind of what's going on as well. So I got that. And then there's like a little calendar. So I'm going to start to put up some of my stream schedule on here as well. So that way you'll get an email that like I'm live or whatever. And it just be a lot easier. I was going to vibe code my own community, but I was like, it's just too much. I was like, I think I'm good. I want to focus on building my apps. And so the app that I'm building right now is this thing called Pebbles. Yeah. Yo, man, what's going on? Are you publishing this voice app? Yeah, that's the goal. The goal is to publish this voice app. I want to publish this voice app so it pretty much just is ready to go and people can start using it. The other part that I want to publish is the connecting this to OpenClaw and Hermes agent. So it shouldn't take that long to connect them and then set up some of the MCP stuff. And then the other part that I want to do is have this connected via MCP so it can control your computer, which that should not be really hard to do actually. And so this is going to be crazy. So from your phone, you can control the computer on your using your voice. And so part of the reason that's driving this is because my friend who's just turned 80 has early onset dementia. And he's having such a hard time just doing some basic stuff on the computer. But if you can talk to an agent, it will be able to drive and move stuff around. And so the way that I'm going to sort of hack this together is using Codex. So Codex has now exposed a way, I think via the Python SDK, to allow me to control the computer locally using some other stuff. So I'm still experimenting. This is just still up in the pie in the sky stuff. But yeah, step 1, publish the app, interaction. Step 2, like have it do the additional features to control your computer, and using like Codex as one of the gateways. And so like the way that this is going to be kind of layered is like each of these are going to be like almost like plugins to the app that will extend its functionality. So that'd be really cool. Jealous of your review, man. Yo, by the way, did you get any one of those computers, by the way? Please tell me you got like an RTX or whatever you got, or one of those Sparks and stuff. It was like, that'd be so fire. But yeah, I'll be back in the Bay Area in a couple, I think next week. So joining the Topic dev team when, bro? No, if anything, it'd probably be the OpenAI dev team, right? Because like everyone's going to OpenAI right now. we got Eric Provencher, one of my Rate Limited podcast hosts. We got this girl from Vercel, I think Pauline. She just joined, right? They got so many folks, like half the iOS teams going on. So the real product. Okay, so let's go ahead and go. So this is where Surface Store, the UIKit floating. Okay. So per the playbook, this supersedes your original max visible budget. Okay. Cool. Can you give me the handoff prompt so we can configure, can kick, make sure we didn't miss anything, and can kick this off in a new chat while making sure all our docs are up to date so the new agent has context on what is going on. Cool. So what I'm doing right now is I'm creating a handoff task. Part of the reason is because my context window is 638,000 tokens out of 1 million. And whenever I get that close, I get a little anxious. Cursor and all these other folks do a pretty good job of trying to maintain these things. And the way that things are working here is that I tend to have a sub-agent task running anyways. So that way it can like not use my main contacts window. All this chat window is only for is to just basically run the entire thread of the conversation. So that way I'll know like, okay, something is kicked off. It's going to come back. It's going to come back, you know. And this thread is really just is acting as an orchestrator. So, and in the orchestrator concept is like, all it's doing is just kind of hanging out, waiting for stuff to be done, and then, you know, sending prompts off to the next agent to do the different work that we need to do. And when I get towards the end here, I like over 50%, I tend to like kick off a handoff task. And then I also tell it to like, since we still have enough space, you know, go through and make sure that everything's still up to date and we're not missing anything here. So yeah. I'll try to get one of those RTX Sparks. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll definitely see if I can get my hands on one. That'd be so cool too. I want you to hook up like 10 of them, bro. Like I want to see the YouTube video where you got like 10 of them, like 10 RTX Sparks. You got 10 DGX Sparks, you have 10 RTX Sparks, and you got like a Vera Rubin like data center behind it, bro. That'd be epic. That'd be epic. So yeah. So in Cursor, what happens here is that you have this sidebar. This is the new glass thing. So we can kind of scoot together to the side. But we have this thing called like the sub agent. You can see what's kind of working in this view. If we click it here, you basically will be able to see the prompt that it wrote for you. Also like what it's kind of doing right now. And this is the work that it's verifying. So I'm using the 1 million, Opus 4.8 1 million max thinking. Mostly because of just how thorough it is, especially how super useful it is at like making sure it does not miss anything. This is a pretty critical task because I'm refactoring from going from SwiftUI over into UIKit. And I'm sort of doing this like complicated, it's not complicated, it's not simple, but it's like a factory pattern for creating my UI, because what I want to do is like, I want to start creating these different views and plugins and things and just have a pattern of the way that stuff happens and kind of like have memory freed so that everything is really performing and works really well. And I can't really do that as well as I want to in SwiftUI. And then things get really cumbersome as soon as I start to introduce touch and then gestures, and then trying to keep track of all these views, states, and sending stuff back and forth. It just becomes really messy. So it's just easier to do in UIKit. Doc worker running. Okay, perfect. So I think it's still running. And when this is done, it's going to finish up everything. So what's nice is that this window, if we kind of make it full screen view, this is a sub-agent view, and you can see it from the very top. So this is the first one up the very top, 13% context is what we're using in this sub-agent. So as you can see, I don't have like that big context bloat anymore. Now I'm working from a fresh context window, and it's basically just trying to wrap up everything so we can continue the next phases of our work. And so everything that's kicked off so far, it's got like 8 different to-dos. So it's going to go ahead and go through the different playbooks and making sure that they're up to date. So now it's going to go through and go back to those markdown documents and go ahead and update them accordingly. So I can slide my little mouse up here to the top right and then go to the little diff thing. And then we can start seeing some of the diffs over here on like what this stuff is looking like and what files it's touching. So that's pretty cool. I don't really need to look too much. I sometimes look in here if I want to like take a look at what's going on, which I usually do, but I like to kind of inspect right here. And so kind of what I'm doing here while this is going is like, I like to kind of figure out where the agent is doing work and kind of what it's going to be working on next. So this is our UIKit migration playbook, and this just going to update those things. So in Cursor, I can also open an editor window. So that's the classic view that most people are used to seeing. And so that's probably the old, the view where everything started. So if we go into here, the real-time demo. And then if we, like one of my favorite views is this Git view, so I can see what's going on. So in our doc design thing, we can kind of see that. So this is our playbook. So this entire playbook is, let's see, if I do the markdown, it's several thousand lines, I think. Yeah, it's like almost 17,000 lines. Yeah, 1,700 lines, sorry. So we can see the lines that it's currently updated right now on like the phase of work. So the UIKit phase 0 to 4 shipped, later session on top of Pebbles phase 9. So we see the work that's going on here. And then down here with these little blue marks show us the other files that have been touched. So what we learned running P0 carry forward, this is kind of what it learned about, the tasks and stuff that it's working on. And so the reason why I'm also doing a handoff is because Cursor can go back into the same chat window and reference like the previous conversation and all the work that we've been doing so it can, continue to roll that into its thinking process. So that's how I fully take advantage of a max thinking window, is that you want to have them really kind of work in this way where like the agents are spitting out other windows and they're doing the other things. And I've been trying to do this in like a custom Pi environment or in a custom agent environment. And it's been really hard to do, especially in Codex, because I can't mentally model all these windows, especially for like a given task or plan, and then keep them in my head and then keep referencing them back. It was only very recently that Codex added the ability to do deep linking to chats, but then I'm still having to physically remember which chats, what have what context, and then what needs to be passed into the models, where this is kind of where Cursor shines, because when it has a multitask view, you can kind of just see it all in one window. And then it keeps going and going and going. And then by itself, the harness will know that it needs to pick up additional context or do different things in order to, complete the task that it's trying to do. So in this case, you see, I just told it like, hey, go ahead and update the docs. But before we do that, make sure, everything's ready to go before we, hand stuff off. So that's what it's doing. It's still going, which is really nice. By the way, we're using fast mode. So fast mode charges 2x the cost. It used to be 6x, but now it's only 2x the price. So this is the same model, but it's like much faster. So in essence, you get a discount. It's still quite pricey, of course. It uses quite a bit of effort there, but I find the max model for these types of tasks to be the best bang for your buck, if you know what I mean. So it is quite a bit to do, and there's a lot that's going on. It's work that I really wouldn't want to do myself, because trust me, like I have a lot going on. Like I leave, I come back, go to dinner, do other things. I would have to keep all this stuff in my head if I didn't write it down. And then, you kind of lose track of it. So having a max model work for you this way is really fantastic. So it's even writing my full final kickoff handoff prompt. So this is already giving me the final prompt that I need, and the facts I couldn't verify against Git. So this is also doing this type of thing. Non-Git verifiable QA process. Perfect. This is awesome. This is amazing. So this is great. So we're almost there, I think. So now that it finished that one task, it's now doing another set of thinking. So as the doc worker finished up and updated the playbook, session handoff, and generated the kickoff prompt. I'm noticing that there's a pre-existing modified file. Okay, so it's taking a look and saying, hey, there's something that's reviewed here. Let's go ahead and see what's changed. And I actually added some keys here, so that's probably why what's going on. So yeah, that's what's up. Awesome. Let's see here. Cool. Before I wrap up, I need to flag that there's a dirty, okay, cool. To shared get tracked, but that must not be committed. Okay, cool. Yeah, I added something in here so that I can do the demo. And so I think it's gonna remove it so that way it doesn't show up in the Git history there. Cool. See, that's max thinking gets you that type of stuff. Like it'll find little things and it actually is going to remove them because like, hey, we shouldn't keep that secret in Git. So we're just going to make sure that thing is left out, right? Your Git track scheme has an uncommitted edit along with device check bypass token. I did not commit it. The docs commit was scoped path and did not revert it. You're likely using it to run a live sim sessions, but because it lives in a track shared scheme, future Git A could leak it. So my recommendation is move it to a non-shared scheme or a Git config matching local posture, then Git checkout. So your call, flagging it so it doesn't sneak into a commit. Okay, cool. This is awesome. The state of play. So now that it's shipped, the new orchestrator should start by confirm the Git state, read the playbook, and confirm the visible card budget. Okay, cool. 2 threads still owe a hands-on device pass. Okay. So can we move it? Can we move it to a non-shared scheme so I don't accidentally check it in? Or a git ignored xconfig matching the, so it doesn't get accidentally checked in. Okay. Okay, so, and I think, let's see, your handoff prompt is finalized here in number 14. Okay, so let me just take a look at this here. So in number 14, this is amazing. Here's my target architecture. Epic. Sketch A, the hosting bridge observation proposed. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here right now. Let's go ahead and I'll get this going here. And I'll look for the prompt that I need to copy for the handoff. This is a pretty extensive refactor. Okay, so we have our phase migration plan. Almost there. Okay. Perfect. Known issues, risk register. Oh my God. Where is this prompt? Okay, ready to paste kickoff prompts. Perfect. This is the one I was looking for. It's at the very end. Dang. Okay, so once it does this, we're going to fix our thing. And then I'm just going to go ahead and copy the, okay, start by confirm git state, read this playbook, the 4 design docs, the 6 design research reports, and put P5 budget open decision to the founder. Then propose P5. Okay. Perfect. This is awesome. It's a great prompt. Damn. So that's that. Okay. Whoops. Oh, shoot. No. Okay. I didn't realize I can actually edit the file. Let me see. Copy. Let's see what's going on over here. Okay. So I think it's going to move the file. Keep the differently named, keep the scheme, but bypass everywhere else. Yeah, proxy MAFR reads from the process environment during debug pass. I could potentially move this pass to local config file instead of the scheme var. Okay. Cool. Let's see. Awesome. Cool. So what I'm going to do while this is going, I'm going to paste in the new agent. I think this is, yeah. New agent. I'm going to paste the prompt here. Cool. You can run sub agents in sequential order for each phase. That way you can act. Wait, is it already acting like an orchestrator? Yeah, you are an orchestrator. Okay, perfect. I don't think I need to tell that. So cursor will already know what to do. So that's this guy. And then let's go back here real quick. What's it doing right now? Remove the shared scheme. Okay, so it's going to remove the bypass token. Okay, perfect. The get RM successfully verified the unshared word cleanly. Perfect. Awesome. So this is almost done. Perfect. Now committed the unshare. Now lives in a non-shared get ignored file. And then the token is zero tracked file, so they can't find the token. That's good. Okay. Fresh notes, since the scheme is now per user only, a brand new clone won't have the tracked scheme. That's great. Yeah, I think that's fine for now. Now let's go ahead and start the new task. So I'm using Opus 4.8 here in thinking fast and max. And then we're doing max mode and we're going to start the handoff prompt. And so now you're really going to see some of the magic of like a max model running, you know, with like the fast type of thing, but you can see the thinking that's happening. And this thread is going to act to be like the main orchestrator for kicking off all the other phases of work. So when we were looking at the plan earlier, there's quite a detailed plan in terms of everything that's going to be done. So this is a little playbook thing here. There's a lot that's going on. So we have, you know, obviously I like to keep track of what bugs we have left and what phases are still in there. So as I encounter issues or as we do different things, I'll just kind of tell it, you know, where we're at. But this is a big refactor. We're going from SwiftUI to UIKit so that we can completely have full interactivity, be able to do lots of cool gesture stuff, like everything that I would want to do as far as performance and things that I would fight with Swift. I'm just going to do it in UIKit. So yeah, so this is kind of why. As you can see in SwiftUI, we'll have like a 3.4 second hitch rate versus UIKit is 0.7. So we'll have like, you know, 5 times fewer. Peak memory is also much, much lower. It's 2.7 times lower. And then just idle scroll is like 9 times less. So we can have 100% CPU in SwiftUI versus UIKit, which would be chilling at 11%. So this is the primary reason why I want to switch over. And this is also from, I think it was like John Bartlett. So was telling us about this. So yeah, this is what we're doing. We're following his pattern. Here we go. Okay, so everything is done. Tree is not clean, has a large uncommitted edit. This is already in the tree. Meanwhile, a background subagent is reading the full playbook. Okay, perfect. Okay. So the P5 visible floating card budget, the open decision, regardless of choice, I'll implement it as a single turnable constant. It is one line character change. And the surface store state machine itself stays budget agnostic. The gate just restocks the board when over budget. Okay. So we want let the playbooks, let it breathe canvas stance. Let's see. I want 5 to 7 middle compromise. Let's do many cards. Other uncommitted playbook rewrite. How should I handle it before P5? Review the diff. And then committed a scoped. Yeah, okay. Because we do have it scoped. All right, perfect. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know if my app is going to work on my phone, but we'll see. But let's see if I can get the app working again.
Say that again.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, Ray.
Wow, you're so fast. Are you Pebbles?
Yeah, it's Pebbles.
Wow. Hey, what are some gluten-free places to eat here in Kailua, Oahu?
Hold on. Let me check that. Try Ganesh Doza for a dedicated gluten-free spot, or Overeasy and GoN for careful options. Steady picks some gluten solutions.
Can you tell me what's on the menu at Over Easy?
Okay, let me check their menu so I can keep it quick. Think brunch comfort. A brunch bowl, crispy edged pancakes, Kahlua pork, and a dressed up Portuguese sausage and rice. Plus,
Out of those items, do you think anyone would be gluten-free?
Yeah. Don't assume any of those are gluten-free by default.
Yeah, but like I want you to kind of do some research and see if you can find something like with the ingredients and what you think. What should I ask?
Okay, let me take a closer look so we can keep this safe. They've been noted as accommodating gluten sensitivities, and gluten-free toast has been reported, but ingredients and prep aren't fully listed. Ask for a gluten-free menu, dedicated prep or fryer, and to confirm bread, sauces, and cross-contact steps.
How do you know this from me? Like, what do you know about me?
I only know you go by Ray, and what you've told me here, like asking about gluten-free spots in Kailua. Yeah, I only use what you share in the moment, and I don't reach beyond this chat.
Do you speak any other languages?
Yeah, I can speak a few. Just ask and I'll follow your lead.
¿Hablas español?
Sí, hablo español también. Tranquilo, lo tenemos cubierto.
Wow, you speak really good Spanish.
Gracias. Fácil. Todo tranquilo.
See? Wow, that's really cool. How do you do that? Wait, if I'm hungry for tacos, what do you think we should eat?
Okay, let's pick a taco move that keeps it easy. Go for corn tortilla tacos with simple filling.
No, I'm talking like restaurants around me. Do you know where I'm at?
I don't see your exact location, right? Share your neighborhood or city, and I can check taco spots for you.
Kailua, Oahu.
Got it. Kailua. I'll check nearby taco options and keep it quick. Try Taqueria El Gallo Rosa, Maui Tacos in Kailua Town, or Leilani's Island Tacos. Ask about corn tortillas and cross contact for gluten safety.
So that's Pebbles. As you can see, I have these like these notes and stuff. And these guys, it's just a prototype, but I'm going to try to see if I can move them around and have these little gestures. That's part of the whole rewrite, right? So with the SwiftUI stuff, and then like the Swift things, I was kind of playing around and getting these types of things. I think, Augment is saying about the smooth voice. How is it handling the interrupts margin? So that's basically all part of the real-time stuff from OpenAI. So OpenAI has the real-time voice agent, and so they provide that as part of their type of thing. And then what I'm using underneath the hood for that type of thing in iOS is called AIProxy. So AIProxy is really great because Lou and those folks spent a lot of time trying to implement this correctly. So AIProxy here is basically a proxy server for iOS. And here is just the way that I'm going to be able to, send my requests off to like a middleman. And then they're the ones who are making sure that, is it an Apple device? My key is not exposed. I can ship a partial key to the device and all that other security stuff. They have this cool stuff in there, and it basically give you 1,000 requests for free, which is awesome. And I found out about them through my friend Ronald Monarch, who was also his key got hacked a long time ago. And then that's how he discovered AIProxy, and he then made his own proxy server. But, for those who are just trying to get started, what I think I like about them is like they already have like a real-time example. So as part of their repo, there's Lou made one called the OpenAI real-time sample. So you can just use this, put your partial key, and you'll be pretty much good to go. So that app looks something, I think I made a demo app using that, and I think it's this guy. So I was able to get this working as far as Matrix and start the live demo, but Yeah, it doesn't work right now. Okay. It's crashing. Yeah, that's the magic of demos. And so I was able to take that and just kind of flip that concept and just kind of build on top of it to make my little, this guy here. So yeah, Pebbles, when it's all said and done, we're going to have like a lot of really cool samples, I guess you can say. So I'll show you some of the concepts for those who are not familiar with it yet. So let me see if I can find the concept for the design. So here's Pebbles. So this is my, like the moods. So he'll be kind of like pensive here and kind of at the bottom, it'll go from like this to curious to bouncing up and down. So it's gonna be just made up of 9 pebbles. They can kind of flow, and it's basically a whole mantra of just flowing with life and being easy, because pebbles can rearrange themselves depending on the environment and what's going on, and then just kind of flows. So it's just, I want to use it as a verb, and say like, it's Pebbles. So my website's going to be itspebbles.com. So more soon on that. I already got the domain and stuff, and I think it's really, really cool. So first part is just kind of like the physics thing, which I already did with SpriteKit, and we already got that working. Then changed it over to UIKit so I can do a lot of gestures and grab a lot of things, because I'm going to have him go off the screen. He's going to come in. Then we're going to build some scenes behind him. We're also going to get rid of this little thing at the bottom and kind of make it more interactive with how I store notes. I want to have like a whole system for how notes are going to be stored, or reminders, or various cards and things, because it's just going to be a fluid interface. So the way that I would think about this is almost like a cross between like a Tamagotchi, but something that where you're kind of peeking into a screen and it appears, right? So it can be like you're in a forest and it's coming out, or it's going to be like presenting something because it's doing exercise at a gym, right? Like lifting weights, or it's going to rearrange itself, or you can then play around with the character and do cool stuff. But the goals that you're trying to work with in your life is going to be able to kind of work with that. So that's kind of why I have some of the stuff that's pinned. This is kind of a temporary prototype for this type of thing, because I want to be able to have certain things that live here. The notes will only be alive for basically 4 hours. So the way that I want to think about this is, I don't want this to be a place where you're literally just trying to store as much junk as possible, because when you do that, then you forget about things. So part of the reason like why I started writing down things is because I wanted to keep them for a while and kind of think through them. But if I put them down and then I don't take action on them right away, then I kind of forget about it, right? So I wanted this a place to just be a lot of action, right? So like, if I have something here, it shouldn't stay up here very long. You should be able to take action on it right away. Otherwise, just get rid of it right away. So it's sort of ephemeral, similar to Snapchat, or you send someone a photo, it's only 24 hours, but in this case, it's only 4 hours, encouraging you to take action while you're awake, and that type of thing. So that'd be kind of fun. So yeah, this is the way we'll go. And this is kind of like my concept for this guy, my little hero. So he'll move around. It's kind of cute. So I want to make it very cute like this. I could do this with more shaders and other types of things, which would be super fun. So that'd be really cool. And yeah, it'd be primary voice agent. It's fast. It's super fast. That's GPT Realtime too. Like it's unreal, because not only were you using that, but we're using search for Exa. So X in the background is doing that with GPT Realtime. Unbeatable. Like the speed is crazy. I think I know NVIDIA announced some stuff. NVIDIA Neutron models, Neutron 3 Super. May to March. Yeah, I think NVIDIA announced some models. I want to check those out too. That'd be really fire. So we'll see what's up. Let's see what's going on here. So, okay. So what do we have here? The uncommitted playbook edit is a lossy auto format. What did we do? What did we modify? Markdown. Oh, I see. It did a lot of auto formatting. And then did we still keep the prompt? Ready to paste. Oh. Oh, shoot. Here we go. Preview. Did I like cut the prompt away? I don't remember. Ready to paste. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, we're good. Discard the edit. Salvage. So let me just check this in real quick because it's having some trouble trying to check this thing in. Oh, here we are. Discard the disk edit, git restore, instantly clean tree. Yeah. What do we happened? 40 corrupted bold code spans. It mechanically swaps star, so every code has a malformed master. Oh no. Content loss. Ready to paste was entirely deleted. It also turned the block quote quotations. Everything else DoD felt guardrail. Okay. So instantly clean tree, correct the committed playbook, and we only lose table alignment out of trucks. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, perfect. Cool. Yeah, so I'm curious to see, like, is anyone else building with voice agents? What have you been working on recently? And I know my friend Max, who's been watching the stream, he just was working with his voice agent today. It's really cool. He has a canvas that basically takes over his Mac, and it moves the canvas around, and his canvas is really cool because he's just using real-time voice, and it's pretty fast too, you know, which is really fun. And so from that case, like, he's able to then just tell his computer to do cool stuff. And so it just slides the canvas across, rearranges the workflow, and he's just controlling his whole computer for voice. And it's such a cool vibe. And I want to, like, I was just inspired by that. I was like, that's really, really cool. And it's like, hey, buddy, I'm also working on a voice thing, but it's only on my phone right now, right? So I think it's really cool. I want to see if I can get like an OpenClaw thing going too. So maybe I'll just kick off a research task while this is going. So in parallel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can just get like some research into OpenClaw and see if I can kind of get that configured. So while this is going, I'm going to say new agent, say, can you use Exa code and ref tools to see if we can somehow hook this agent up to an OpenClaw instance. So that way it'll feel like it has real memory and such. I think they expose endpoints for us to reach, but I don't know. And we'll need you to use multiple agents in parallel to research and come back with a report on how it's been a while. How we'd hook that in. How we'd hook that in. Okay. I'm trying to type. I usually do whisper flow, but I just felt like typing today. Yes, I wanted to try add Gemini Live support with Exo searches. Yes. And OpenAI, they're already easy. Okay, skip Gemini. Yeah. Oh, XAI voice. I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah, Gemini, I tried. It's not as natural as the GPT real-time voice. GPT real-time is probably the fastest, highest quality, and super crazy fast at function calling. And the Gemini one just sounds too delayed and too, I don't know. I don't really like it. So yeah. No, that's really cool. I'm glad you've been trying it. Yeah. Okay, so for OpenClaw, OpenClaw is a real, so it's basically doing the research now. Exploring some searches. It thought for 16 seconds. So we're going to be letting it do that thing. And in my case, it came back. What happened here? So, okay, so here's what we got going on. Steps, master says green at each. Perfect. Okay. Okay, approve this brief. And so I can spawn a focus background worker and run parallel read-only reviewer. Approve and spawn budget. Okay. Perfect. Cool. So we're working on a couple threads at the same time. What's going on with our research over here? Very cool. Awesome. Hey there. Hey there.
Hey, Ray. I'm here.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Qué estás haciendo?
Tranquilo. Pensando contigo un momento. ¿Todo bien? Es Pebbles.
Es Pebbles. How do you say that in Spanish?
En español se dice es Pebbles.
Es Pebbles. Can you tell me a joke?
Un guijarro entra a un bar y dice, no se preocupen, no voy a hacer olas.
Can you translate that into English?
A pebble walks into a bar and says, don't worry, I'm not going to make waves.
I don't get it.
Okay, let me make the wordplay clearer. Make waves is an idiom for causing trouble, and it's also literal water waves. So the pebble is joking that it won't cause either kind.
That's funny. Haha, I get it now.
Yeah. Little.
Oh man, that's so what's going on, man. Yo, building voice agents and building as well. What APIs? So just using GPT real-time voice on iOS and using Exa for search. So Exa is super fast. And so if I ask for Exa for anything like, hey Exa, or not Exa, hey Pebbles, can you tell me about what's happening with this show called Thursday AI on every Thursday with Alex Volkov?
Okay, let me check that show for you. It's a weekly AI news show hosted by Alex Volkov, usually on Thursdays, with rotating experts breaking down what matters for builders from the show's About page. Steady signal, low noise.
Can you tell me what's recently happened on his show this last week?
Okay, I'll check the latest episode details for this week. Latest recap covered big Google I/O items and a story about AI cracking a long-standing math problem. From the show notes.
Can you go deeper on it?
Got it. I'll pull a bit more detail from the latest recap. It went deep on Google I/O updates like Gemini 3.5, Omni-style models, and agentic tooling. Plus, an AI result tied to a long-standing Erdos math problem from the recap and related summaries.
That's amazing. That's super cool.
Yeah, feels like real momentum, not hype.
I'm gonna make it go to sleep. So yeah, Alex. So basically, what I'm using right now is a thing called AIProxy. They give me 1,000 requests, but basically it's just a proxy server for iOS, and I find this to be super fast. And you can ship this to the App Store because they're basically doing a partial key thing. Let me send this over to you right now. I don't know if you can see this right now, but you might be able to see the URL link because I forget that X doesn't accept the chats in my thing. But Luzel, if you just search up AIProxy Swift, there's one of the demos he has in here called or actually just in LZELL, OpenAI Real-Time Sample. So the OpenAI Real-Time Sample is the one that will actually have this actual real-time sample that I used. And so the real-time sample will just basically make you a basic app. And then the basic app will probably, I don't even know if it has a UI. It'll probably you just put like a little button and you can start doing it. But then from there is kind of where I started to prompt it to do like, this other stuff that I wanted to have my own agent, building these scenes and screens and stuff. So you can start with this. Is probably the fastest way. And it obviously like it has a dashboard monitoring. The best part is the part about the device check. So it's going to verify that it's coming from your device specifically with your app. That way, if other people try to hit your endpoint, they don't start to try to take it down, or it won't cost you money to do the, like to spin up a server and so forth to deal with all the traffic. Obviously, GPT Realtime there, super fast, and pretty much just vibe coded my way into it. And yeah, that's kind of what we're doing right now. So it's a pretty straightforward thing. And so I'm refactoring the app so that way I can do a lot more with my actual, like Pebbles component thing itself. But you can see it's just using the samples real time. They're handling all the stuff underneath the hood as far as like the SDK. And so you're not really doing too crazy stuff. I'm just using the ultra fast search. I haven't done anything deeper. For the prototyping phase, I just wanted to make sure that I can get those cards that come up. And then in the rewrite, in this refactoring phase, I'm actually rewriting the cards to respond to, like, if it's a fitness request, it's going to draw some fitness related things. If it's like a menu item, it's going to show something that's like menu related. If it's like something regarding to, like prices and other stuff, it'll show like cards that are specific to that. And then I'm going to go away from cards and eventually going to do a different little paradigm because I'm experimenting with UI right now. The UI that I'm doing here is just the prototype, but I want this to feel like, and then this little bar is going to go at the bottom. And the character is also just going to interact with scenes. So when you come into the app, you'll basically just see a scene right away. And the way that I think about it is more like in a video game, when you turn on the game, it's almost like if you open TikTok, it's never the same app, right? Because like the first video you watch is completely different. So in this way, it could be the same way. So like in TikTok, you'll have like a TikTok view of this. So you'll see a scene, and then you'll see something that you're either supposed to do or you remember, or something completely unrelated that you can start to interact with. And then your character can, in this case, Pebbles will just flow in, or a notification can kind of slide in. You can kind of interact with it and do stuff with it, right? So you can do stuff without even talking to it by sliding things or doing gestures, or you can just talk with the agent and it'll just do everything and interact with those gestures. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. I'm really trying to push the boundaries of, I'm so disgusted with the HAL UI, which is basically just an orb that sits in the middle and that you talk to it and just does this little orby thing and it just kind of does stuff. It's the most basic prompt to generate agent, but in terms of interaction design, we can do a lot better. And that's where I feel like I can now push the boundaries of that, because the agents are finally good enough to express all of the things that I want to say. Or just thinking about the pattern for writing the code was just also like why I didn't really touch it for a long time. But now I feel like we're now in this like era where we're literally cursors doing it. And so, yeah, I'm refactoring the code from Swift now going into UIKit. So we can do that a lot better. Aloha, Ray. What's going on, man? It's Adam. We met at Kailua Beach 2 weeks ago. Dude, let's go, man. Yeah, this guy pulls up at the boat ramp, and I just came back from the Kiki race, and he's like, Ray. I was like, what? So it was really, really cool to see you. Hey, man, welcome, Adam. We're just kind of hanging out. I'm just playing around with my new character and kind of seeing what I can do here. So let's see. This is a pretty fat rewrite. Let's see. What do I need to do here? Okay. Oh, this is for OpenClaw. How do we hook up this agent to OpenClaw for real memory? I'll go back to this conversation so that way we won't get too confused. So yeah, Jason, man. Yeah, it's glad to be back. I'm just having a fun time hanging out with y'all. This is really cool. It's like really the best. Yeah, I found it to be helpful to add search depth intelligence. Yeah, I think that's going to be coming later for sure, because I'm going to also check out OpenClaw. Missed the start, was running. Yeah, you didn't miss much. We're just kind of hanging out. It's been a while since I've streamed, so that's kind of been really fun to get this together here. So as of right now, I'm doing work. If you're just kind of getting started, Jason, this is my character called Pebbles, and my app is called Pebbles. And so it's going off this saying called it's Pebbles. And as a pebble, like when it's kind of hanging out, it can flow and kind of change shapes. And this is kind of like the whole thing about Pebbles as a concept. Is that like, it's going to be used as a verb. And I want like people to feel at all ages, they can just say it's Pebbles. So like, it's all good. And it's all good because this thing can just kind of transform into terms of like being excited and doing different things. So I can show you real quick, kind of the different moods that this pebble thing will get into. So when it's really excited, it can kind of jump up and down like this and have like an expressive face. Or if it's really curious, kind of doing some cool stuff, it'll just start to kind of, because it's only going to have 9 pebbles, and then the pebbles can rearrange themselves since you can kind of see their different sizes. And it's really cool because it takes on like this cool like curiosityness to like its little feature. And if it's kind of doing something bad or kind of trying to hide out or do something a little bit bashful, it can kind of have these different moves that you can kind of interact with it. So it's not meant to be like as a character that's constantly on the screen. It will just kind of, there'll be different scenes that show up, and then the character's moods will show up and kind of have these different interactivity with this. So you could even grab some of the pebbles, which I kind of have prototyped right now, and start flicking them around. So you can eventually, when it takes a shape and it gets exciting, you can kind of do that, or you can kind of play with it and it just falls apart or something like that. And it'll be able to do its different things. So I think that's kind of where I'm really going with this. And so I wrote this in Swift originally, and then when I say Cursor did, and then rewriting it right now for UIKit so that we can do some of the cool, dreamy stuff that I really want to do, like all these cool different implementations. So within that, what I like to do is I like to have an orchestrator. So what an orchestrator concept is for agentic coding is I'll have one chat window, and Cursor lets you do this thing called / multitask. And so with multitask as a mode, similar to like plan mode, multitask will let you basically kick off multiple agents in parallel. And what I do typically is that whenever a new agent kicks off as a subagent, that context window basically gets to be fresh from the very beginning. And depending on the task that it's doing, it will only use up, it will find the right agent for that task. So in this case, it actually used the composer one, and the composer model isn't as expensive as the other model, but it was the right model for this task because all it was trying to do was trying to ground itself to understand where it was in that plan. And that model's already really fast. But if you haven't used the new Composer 2.5, it is incredibly fast. It's really, really good. As you can see, it finding detailed documents, digging through more context and trying to find everything, but also kind of arrange stuff to prepare it for other agents to use. So to me, Composer 2.5 is a fantastic companion to a GPT 5.5 or an Opus 4.8 model. I love Opus, especially in the max mode with the million token context window. Opus as an orchestrator is incredible. It's incredible at keeping long chains of information, especially with that max thinking, to make sure that it does the additional loop back that everything stayed together. And you're probably going to be saying like, well, Ray, like the max thing thinks too long. And you're correct, but that's the whole point of it. It's because if you're doing an orchestration, you need to keep these things in the context window. If you're doing these orchestrations by hand, you'll have to kick off many chats. You'll have to keep that stuff in your head, reprompt the model, and then make sure that you didn't miss anything along the way. And if you did miss something, you would have to tell the model to go back and look for that. And then it would spend a lot of more tokens to go back and figure out everything. So in some ways, you actually have more token efficiency by enabling a max mode for Opus 4.8 to act as an orchestrator. So in one chat, that's kind of the advantage of what Cursor is doing, is that like they'll keep that in one chat for you. And then now you have different sub-agents that will kick off. And those sub-agents will use either GPT 5.5 model. In this case, it just used, Composer 2.5. And then in between is that where you get the value, right? So the value is in the thinking window. So that thinking window is now planning the next steps for what the orchestrator needs to do to hand off the next tasks. And so that's what it's doing here. And so now when it says, okay, I need to work on this phase of work, I'm going to kick off another sub-agent and go do that work for you. So then it'll either ask me a question, and it does here in this chat, and then it'll kick off into the next here. So this little sub-agent view, if I expand it out, you'll see this kind of like arrow. So this now points to our own thing, and it says 34% context window. So you see we get a brand new context window, fresh, million tokens to work with a now very intelligent model, the Opus 4.8 max thinking. Once it figures out what specific things it needs to do, it writes its own to-do list here, and then it keeps going. And then it just keeps going basically till the work is done. If a test pass needs to happen, it'll send it back to the orchestrator. The orchestrator said, okay, now we're at a phase we should probably test the work and see what's going on. And that's what it's doing at the end of this chat. It's like, let me clean up the redundant symbol stuff. Let me go ahead and take a look at some of the other things in the simulator. Let's go ahead and see how that's working for us. Let's go ahead and debug, make sure that these work for the build and release. And it's doing that for me on my behalf, which is amazing. So now it's going to try to boot the simulator. And let's see if the simulator is actually, yeah, here it is. So Cursor is controlling basically the iPhone simulator doing the commands there. And so that's what's cool. So it's now running the Xcode simulation stuff. Yeah, it's amazing, right? Yo, that's crazy. So let me wait for the cards and materialize. So now it's going to capture a screenshot. That's basically going back and forth. So yeah. Did you cancel your Codex sub again? No, I still have, so I have them all. I have Codex Pro. I have the Claude Opus, the Claude Code Plan. And the Claude Code Plan, by the way, they got rid of the design budget. So now it's rolled into your plan, which I actually find really helpful. So I was using it to design and it wasn't even using that much. And they've extended the tokens, which was super helpful. In Cursor, I have the Ultra plan. And I also pay for the BugBot thing. So that's another $40 a month. But BugBot's been awesome because BugBot has been finding and auto-committing stuff into my repos for my web dev projects. And it's all doing in the cloud. So I haven't even got to cloud computing stuff. That's going to be like a different stream. But this is on-device stuff. I really liked... Wow, that's cool. I like kind of like the way that my little guy's working here. So it's really cool. But yeah, I know there's like so many different things to explore here. So this has been a lot of different stuff. I also, if for those who are interested, I made a skill that you may want to be interested in. So if you go to github.com/Ray Fernando, I made a thing called Ray Fernando skills. I'll put this in the school community as well for free. So in this skill file, I basically am now encoding a lot of my engineering practice for bug reports. And so these are probably like the most valuable ways to find bugs is to have an agent pretend to be a user persona and go through and start testing your app and just kind of run into problems. And it actually finds really, really good stuff that you can't find in a code review. And what I'm discovering is that this is probably the most token efficient way to utilize the tokens that you have from these models to test on your behalf in a real environment that a user would be using your stuff in. And so in this, like in a test pass, I'm able to find like stale tokens, like race conditions, just from literally punching around and testing the app as a user. And so this is kind of where Cursor, it becomes a bigger cheat code along with Codex, is because Cursor has its own browser and is using Composer 2.5. Composer 2.5 is crazy fast at controlling a browser, and it's really, really good. So it could do test pass for me and literally write these beautiful detailed reports. All of this was created using Composer 2.5. And so it will make a port like this, like the impact and everything. And then you hand this off to an agent. You can hand this back to Composer 2.5, and it will then do a bug review and then sort stuff out. And then you can then have it fix those bugs for you in that same pass. So I could say, fix all the P02 bugs before we ship the next phase, or let's just do a quick, bug skill, whatever it is. So I've wrote a lot of the different references that you'll need for this skill to be very successful, from writing test plans to running a bug review to like even using the right iOS simulator, or if you have access to computer use with Codex, it will actually go ahead and grab that. How to run a good bug review, like actual good bug review, so it knows what to prioritize for your app. All of this stuff is free. You can just download it as a skill file. So go ahead and check it out. Send your agents to it. I think it's going to be super useful. I feel like not a lot of people talk about quality engineering, especially with agentic coding these days being very popular. But I think this is probably one of the key unlocks that people are going to start to discover as like a necessary engineering piece in your whole practice. So if you're writing stuff with agents, you're also going to need a good like testing loop to get that feedback to understand where you really are. And the bugs that come out of this are really, really high quality because of the fact that you're testing closer to the user environments. And if you can set those user environments up for your agents to test with, then you can start injecting personas like I am a grandma, I am a young adult, I am a person who has this capability where my fingers are fat and I'm always tapping around these different edges and stuff like that. So you can purposely inject these types of test cases or randomness. And that's what these agents really excel at. It's just taking on personas and behaving this way. So you'll get good bug reports and you'll start to see themes and things. And then if you're really advanced, if you have some experience, then you can start to tie in your customer feedback to these bugs and understand where these are constantly overlapping. And so the goal of this is to eliminate churn, because a lot of these bugs that these agents will find will probably be things that your first testers will find too. And if they're finding it before your testers are finding it, then they're probably not going to be very excited about using your app. So that's kind of the reason why we have this skill there. So that's the skill file. Definitely go check it out. I'm going to drop this also in the skill here in the school community. So I'm going to say Ray Fernando, QA skill. QA skill. Still in alpha and would appreciate feedback. Cool. Let me go ahead and do updates. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, this is a free community. You can get started here. This is school.com/start-myai. And you can go ahead and join in. I'm basically posting updates there. I'm trying to like get an area where everyone can kind of join in. I was using Discord for a while, and people who are paid for Discord, you still have access, and that's still there for you guys. But for me, I just wanted to open up like kind of like a forum-based type of thing where it's easier for everyone to kind of see what's going on. So yeah, you just join for free. I know it says free till 6/17. So basically, if you've been able to join in, you get access to this thing. I was thinking about turning it to paid, so I'm going to try to figure out what that looks like. But that, for now, we'll just kind of keep it at this. I feel like I might just leave it for free or something, or open up a different community. But a lot of what people request are just my time. And so that will probably just be paid for. But as far as a community, I might just leave the free part free, where you just can go in and post stuff and people can help you out. But yeah, we'll figure something out. So yeah, that's GPT. We're talking about GPT Realtime. So let's see what's going on. It's taking some screenshots. Cursors come back with the implementation report. So we have the UIKit migration summary. So it generalized the post-it controller. Perfect. The deviations are all deliberate with rationale. With liquid glass materialized. Overflow beyond. Okay. Glass corner rounding instead of the sketches. Perfect. I verified the SDK controller. Perfect. All right. Is interactive false on the glass. Card owns the lift drag, avoids the system glass micro bounce completing. Cool. Created. Staged. Perfect. Quiet 4-hour expiry. Nice. UI glass effect symbol decision. So verified against SDK header. Perfect. The audit results. DOD items cannot fully verify headlessly for the orchestrator. So the drag and long press here can inject real touches. So it's verifiable by code. Oh, interesting. Let's see. Ooh. Okay. Okay. This is cool. Oop. Crash. Oh, I see. I have a couple different things here. Oh, this is so nasty. Oh God. Yeah. I'm crashing. The sim is crashing like crazy. And what's happening here? Oh, okay. Yeah, it could be just be a sim issue. Live flow turn on, no backend, sim QA. I did verify headlessly via screenshots, 4 cards, float. Perfect. Multi-card seed demos. Okay, I did not commit the tag. Okay. Perfect. So that was the sub agent. So the sub agent ran, and that's kind of what we're looking at here. And then now we're looking at, let's see, independently verify the build, where we're at. Yeah, so this was the sub agent. That's the stuff that we were looking at. Now we're looking at the follow-up from it. So it's implemented end-to-end, left the uncommitted master. Now what is it doing? Smoke check. Perfect. Scope and variance. Release build and then diff viewer. Okay. So it ran something. Okay. So what I want to do, okay. Commit after fixes. One real blocker. Invisible fallback plus 2 cheapness. Everything else is turn flow, audio lifetime, verified clean, applying the fixes. Okay. Fallback component renders at 0, canvas. It only center pins its inner card. So the card measures 0 and the glass host collapses. which P5 means every non-node component would surface invisibly, breaking the fallback always visible. Ah, okay, cool. So yeah, I found a bug by itself. So in its own thinking window and its own testing, it found a bug and it's kind of fixing it. So we're just kind of chilling. And so far, we've only used 303,000 tokens. A lot of the work that's been done as far as the implementation has happened in the sub agent. So now we're just kind of chilling. So this whole time we've just been having, as far as like agent coding, a lot of the stuff has been happening in the sub agent, right? And the main thread is just our orchestrator thread. It's doing some work in here, which is okay. It's like basically doing some bug fixing and stuff. But if we get to a point where we start filling this up pretty fast, I'll probably just do a handoff for the next phase. But it's kind of nice because it kind of keeps everything in here. And in Cursor, you can also reference a past chat. So if you do if you do @ you can do past chats. So I can select a past chat in my conversation, so like a different phase, and pull that in if I had some questions or I wanted to kind of review multiple chats. So that's very, very handy. So right now, is it running a terminal command? Yeah, it's running something. It's building the project. Cool. Awesome. Whoops, did I close it by accident? Yeah, I think yeah, lint is clean. Okay. Okay, review the blockers, summary of what I changed. The rebuild finished successfully, exit 0, meaning, okay. I'll split this 2 steps. So let me go ahead and see if I can then push this to my phone. Well, theoretically it should work now, my simulator, right? Oh, I see. I'm having some problems with this. Okay. Hey, yo, what's good? Hello, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Wow, you're so smart.
You make it easy.
What are we doing today?
Easy start, then one clear move, Ray. What do you want to get done first?
I want to go to the beach here in Kailua.
Okay. Go early, bring water, and keep an eye on the wind.
Where are some of the best spots in Oahu to go to beaches?
Okay. Let me think through a few solid beach picks on Oahu. Waikiki for easy swimming, Lanikai for calm, clear water, and Waimea Bay when it's mele. That's a strong trio.
Cool. What's your favorite place to swim?
I don't swim, but I'd pick a quiet, protected spot like Lanikai for that steady, easy water.
Where can I see turtles?
Let's keep it safe for you and the turtles. I'll keep it simple. Laniakea, also called Turtle Beach, as spots along the North Shore are common, but stay back, give them space, and follow the signs.
This is really cool. This is hilarious.
Yeah, smooth little win.
That's pretty cool. This is awesome. And we are cooking. What's going on here right now? So the capture is being killed by the environment. Okay. Oh, it's probably because I'm playing around with it, huh? Okay. So proceed to 6. Pause, you'll review live. Okay, yeah. So what I'm doing is basically I'm just going to rebuild the app, give it some feedback here, and see if we can iterate here with phase 5. And so some of the stuff that we're seeing right now, especially with the little guy that's doing his thing, that it's, yeah, all the stuff is checked in. And let me just go ahead and rebuild the app. And let me also try to like rebuild and play it like on mobile.
Say that again, Ray?
Can you make a reminder that I like gluten-free stuff in Kailua? Oh, okay. So what I'll say, oh yeah, there's like a bug report. Okay. Okay. Let me just copy this real quick. I'll say, I should probably put that in a file, but it's okay. It should be fine. Oh, let me stop this. Let me go ahead and edit this right here. Let's see. When I try to make a reminder or do something, the car just seems to be stuck at the bottom, and I can touch and drag it up, but it just drops to the bottom. Where before it used to kind of stick around. And the goal is for it to just kind of drag it, and wherever I place it, it should just stick there. Eventually, if I get it close to the side, it'll just kind of tuck away. And then I kind of want to make a special drawer or a specific place that I can reference the card in the future. Because my thumb is primarily, I'm a right-handed person, but someone could be left-handed, and I just want to have a place or a pocket that I can kind of call the note back and forth. You know, if I place it into a certain place, it should just stay there. And if I tap maybe the bar at the bottom or something, it'll just kind of slide down or animate itself down to that area. And then I tap it again, it'll just animate back up or something really cool and interactive. While I was doing these gestures, I also encountered the bug below. Via the simulator. Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and send that across. All right. So what we've done here basically is we've done a phase of work, and the agent is, rewriting the stuff from SwiftUI to UIKit. And we're also rewriting the kind of interaction model with our cards, so that way I can have some drag and drop capabilities. And right now, there are obviously some bugs. And so instead of moving on to the next phase and continuing that work there, I'm basically just fixing the bugs and trying to get the stuff that I need to have happen here. And then once we're kind of done with that, I'll kind of be able to wrap that in and update our plan going forward. And so the key here is to kind of keep rolling and kind of have some of these stopping points so that you can kind of use and test your app and then kind of get that feel that you want before moving on to the next thing. And to me, I find that as like a really good way to kind of make sure that everything is working okay. But it also gives like the scope of like, since the agent already has this conversation and we've already touched a lot of this code, a lot of this stuff will be in context, or the agent will be able to go back into different subthreads and be able to pull back that context if needed. But for the most part, because it checked the code into Git, it's able to then see the diffs itself and know, oh, I touched that code. I should probably take a look at that, or this is probably related to this type of thing. And so this is kind of why I like to have like this, basically this multitask and Opus acting like an orchestrator, because this is so rich. And I find that Cursor has the best experience for this right now in terms of being able to interact with this. The Droid, like Factor AI, has a hands-off version of this called Missions. So you can kick off agents. They will self-orchestrate, generate the test, and pretty much do everything. But it's really, really hands-off, which can be helpful for some folks. In my case, since I like to do the engineering myself and I kind of want to, have more control, I like to kind of have this type of fine-grained control. And I find this like the really good UI to do this. To do this in Codex will require many chat windows, many like references and links to past chats to pass back and forth. And, that could be a little bit challenging there. So if you want to kind of hang out with some of the other folks who are building in the community, I'm building this little thing called Start My AI. So it's currently free to join in. You can just kind of post here. And this is probably like a good way for you to kind of hop in and meet some other folks in the community who are building with us as well. And so it's free. You can join in. You can start to post some comments. And I've been kind of posting some of my updates here while I'm live. And so you can see the QA skill we talked about a little bit earlier, the real-time voice resources stuff that we're talking about. So how you can build the sample app, where to get the sample repo, and how to get started with that. So you can just pop in there and just, kind of get started. I want to have this as a place. If you're building, just go ahead and start replying back to it saying like, hey, I'm building with this, or you have any questions. There's some other folks who are there in the community. I also want to have like the calendar. So the calendar will have like my live stream schedule. So when I'm going to go live, you'll be able to kind of check that out there as well. So that's my little school community. It's currently free to join. If you're wondering where the Discord is, it's currently on pause. So anyone who's been able to join the Discord so far, you're pretty much in there. They're kind of like my first early people who are able to support the channel. And I really appreciate you for supporting. And so that's kind of been put on pause. I've been like, I'm still in there. I'm still kind of chatting with some of the folks, but I feel like you guys are some of my core people in there. So I started this as a community because I feel like there's more questions and other things that are happening. And there's a lot of stuff that I want to put out that, doesn't necessarily want to go in an email, a blog post. I just need to put it up there really fast. But the other part that I like about this is like, if I send an email blast, you can't reply back and help another community member where other people can then do that. So Paul has been amazing. He's been helping out other folks and commenting. So he's currently on the leaderboard right now. David as well. And then we have Augman as well. So like if you're popping in, replying and helping other people, you're definitely going to get moved up. And I'll definitely shout you out for appreciating the help of the community. So this is kind of what we're building is free. I feel like, I want to kind of do more of these types of streams and kind of build live with you. And if you're just joining in right now, basically building this concept called Pebbles, and this is just going to be able to be our personal agent that will help us in life. I'm going to try to connect it to OpenClaw, but right now I'm just trying to bring it to life, giving it a voice using GPT Realtime. I'm going to have these different characters and stuff. I got the physics stuff going in so far. We got quite a bit of stuff that's going in. It's connected to the internet. It's got some stuff on. I'm trying to work on the reminders and stuff. It's got some other stuff bouncing up and down. So that's what we got going on here. And so as of now, for building this out, I'm using all of the open model or all of the models. So Cloud Opus 4.8, Max, we're using GPT 5.5. We're using Composer 2.5. We're doing this all inside of Cursor right now. And then we're also using the OpenAI GPT Realtime 2 model. So that Realtime 2 model is really kind of the workhorse here. That's what's really driving the voice interaction experience. It is really good. It's really fast, and it's really good at reasoning too. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on that we're going to be able to get in here for this type of thing. So this is doing its thing. You can kind of see it thinking. It's doing a crash investigation for one of them, and then the other sub agent's basically working on the placement cards and the pocket drawer. So literally, it's just basically a feature / bug report that it's working on. And so we have two agents that are currently working in parallel right now. And we can kind of see them working here. So they're working and they're not eating up our main context window. They're just kind of made their own tasks. They've assigned what they need to do. And like, that's kind of what it's doing. So the one that's basically working on the interactive design, that's going to be doing that thing there. So that's pretty cool that it's going to be able to do that. And the other one too is like, hey, I'm going to fix this in the background for the bug report. And it's even testing it too. So it's crazy. It's really crazy what you can do these days with these models. But this is currently my workflow. So I'm going to be doing another live stream on Thursday. And if you want to tune in, definitely check it out because I'm going to just continue to build on this. I'm also going to show you some of the workflows that I'm using for the cloud stuff. So that'd be really cool. So that'd be awesome. But if you have any questions, let me know right now. I'll be happy to answer them while I'm live before I head on out. So pop any questions into the chat, kind of say what's up. Big shout outs to Augment OS, who's been kind of tuning in. Also shout outs to Adam, who I met basically at the boat ramp here in Kailua. Also big shout outs to Alex Volkov and stuff. So I think he's also building some voice agents as well. So you got some folks all over the place. AI with you, B, is also here as well. We also got we got a whole bunch of folks up in here. So yeah, that's what's up. My fans are heating up, so you may or may not hear me right now. I know my computer's kind of tweaking out right now because of all the fans. So let me show you what this is looking like, activity monitor. So my CPU, I'm using 73 gigs of memory, and a lot of my memory is going to Cursor, Ecamm, some Windows Server thing. I have I have different simulators that are running. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. Yeah. So what else are we using up? Yeah. I have, it's a good thing I have a 128 gig machine, right? Let's see, where's all the energy going to? Yeah, Windows Server. This is insane. Okay, let me quit this. Okay. Let me quit this here. Okay. Let's see what's going on with Cursor. Cool, Cursor's cooking. So we have the crash that's fixed. The on-device certification is required. So looks like the crash we're having is very simulator specific. So it's like related to talk. Report upstream to Luzelle with a crash. Okay. Oh, got it. Okay. And then the other one here is what's working. Cool. I want an app to do real-time translation for my international team. I think we can do that. Let me see if I can. I'll see if I can make a pull request to implement this, because this is, I created an issue for this. I might just check out the code and do the pull request and do the translate one, because this is what we need for AIProxy, GPT Realtime Translate. And then I'll probably on Thursday stream, I could probably do a dedicated stream where I'm going to see if I can prototype this out by Thursday. I'm going to see if I can build an app with the prototype of this code. So the thing that we depend on will be the AIProxy thing, which will have this ready to go. So for us to do the translate, we have to change our little, V1 real-time to real-time translate, and then look for the new session instances that we need. So translations will need the model, and then specifically like what language you want to translate to. So I'll look into that. That'd be really cool. And then I might use one of the sample repos that Todd has made. So if you're not familiar with this one, Todd made this one, and it's really, really cool. Let me see if I can find it. AIProxy demos. AIProxy demos. AIProxy demos. Demo apps, Todd Hamilton. Okay, let me see if I can find the GitHub. Okay, here we go. Demos. Movie classifier. I think it's in here. Okay. AIProxy.pro. Let's see, sample apps. Here we go. So what I'll do, I'll probably make it's film. I'll probably do the translation one where I have like some of the languages here, and then you can slide your finger to the English, French, or whatever. Like if you want the output language to come into your own native thing, you could just probably select just by doing this, and then that way you'll hear the stuff from here. So I'll probably use this as a base project, and then get the updated code from the real-time thing that I need from them. So in my request, I'll probably just build this out and submit it and see if I can get it pulled in, because he's already working on one of them for the whisper part, but not for the translate. So yeah, well, that'll be separate. So should be able to build it for supporting Japanese customers in English. Yeah, actually, that's really, really cool. Yeah, because you want it to both ways. Like they can just, that'd be really cool. Damn. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't think I've seen a really good real-time translate for iOS, but I feel like I can make that right now. That would just print money. Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, and I think, I don't know how much it would cost. Let's see, what's the cost? Models. Because I don't think it would cost that much. When we were doing a lot of talking, it didn't really cost that much. Let's see, translate. Okay. Oh, 3 cents per what? 16,000 token context window? Oh, per minute. Oh, that's nice. That's really amazing. Okay, 3 cents per minute. Okay. Oh, so minutes of audio per minute. So I'm on tier 5. I get 850 minutes of audio per minute. Okay, so I get that many users. I guess if I have to go higher, I probably have to, if my app goes viral, I probably have to get an enterprise account or something. I'll just text Sam Altman, right? Bruh. Or just flex the water bottle and be like, yo, okay, so today, I don't know if you know this, but I learned that this little hitch here that's on this little notch, that is to hold the water bottle, the cap. What? I don't own one of these Stanley products. This is my first Stanley product that I've ever owned, like a Stanley water bottle. And I was like, why is this little notch thing here? And then I was driving. I was like, wait, no way. So yeah, that's how I found out you can actually do that type of thing. So I'll just probably like, if I need more than 850 minutes for like 1 minute, because there's like my translation app goes viral or something, then I probably have to go like Sam. Yeah, this is pretty crazy, right? Yeah. Damn, that's what's up. Adds up like nickel slots. Yeah, man. That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I really badly want to make a translate app. So I think I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna submit the PR request. I should just make a little wait list. That'd be really cool. But maybe pay like X dollars a month and get so many minutes. Or like X, however it is, because you'd have to pay, and I don't know for the pricing for this, because like what specific requests? Is it like one request for a translate, or how that really works with them? So I'll have to figure out what that looks like, because this can go up pretty fast too. So the costs, yeah, because in order to stand up one of these servers to like make sure the device is setting up a WebSocket server and doing all the stuff that needs to be done for this real-time stuff, it's doable, and it will take some time. But then like, do I really want to do that, or do I just want to just get an app to market as fast as possible, and then I don't have to stand up and spend a lot of tokens and headache? I could just test the market. If it is yielding a lot of money, and it turns out it's too expensive to do my own thing, or it turns out to be too expensive, I could start writing my own code, because then I know that there's at least some traction, right? So yeah, as fast as possible, right? Exactly. Yeah. I just walked back. Codex says the 72 compaction events. Damn, dude, that's crazy. Yeah, that's pretty massive. Yeah. Right now, I'm still waiting for my stuff to be fixed here on my agents here. Yeah, this was up. Cool. So yeah, with that said, tune in for Thursday. I'll be kind of popping back in on Thursday and can be checking out. We're gonna see how far we can get with this app. I'm in parallel probably gonna make a translate app as well, because I really like this concept with Pebbles, and I think this is gonna go a long way as far as like voice agents controlling things. This is the future. The interface is finally here. It's finally fast enough, and there is like a way to actually do this. So that's what's up. If you have any questions, pop into the school community, and that's what's up. You have more viewers than the apes. Apes? I don't know what that means. The apps? Apes? APS? Yes. So yeah. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, so if you want to pop into the school community, just look up Start My AI, and you should be able to find it. Or just pop into this link here. So that's what's up. Cool. Other than that, I will see you guys Thursday. Let me know what you guys are building in the community there. It's free to join. Just go ahead and join in, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out, y'all.